Harambe YouTube, it is Charles here, and if you are a longtime viewer of this channel, you would know that every so often I take time out of the video not to talk about a comic book or action figures or any fun nerdy stuff, but to talk about the real purpose of this channel and why I do what I do. And the reason why is mental health and advocacy and trying to be a light to somebody that's been through some of the things I've been through. A short history, I am permanently disabled. I was a healthy person up until around the age of 30. And then a work accident changed everything. Now I'm in constant pain. I have mobility issues. It affects everything. And the thing that it affected more than my physicality was my mentality. I developed chronic depression and got into a lot of bad habits along with a sedentary lifestyle, and I gave up on life. But fortunately, I had friends to point me in the right direction and get me into therapy. And so through years of therapy, I've learned to accept my new boundaries. But I had to find a place to put all that time and energy that I would put toward work and other things that I used to do physically. And so I got into collecting. It started with DVDs and movies. And it was fun, but it got a little bit pricey and repetitive and kind of vanilla. I mean, once you get so many videos, there's only so much TV you can watch. And so that got boring for me very fast. But then by accident, when I was going to, I think, either get or buy a part for my Xbox One, I stumbled across a discount action figure in a bargain bin, and that one action figure, a Brock Lesnar figure from GameStop, turned into my entire collection, which you can see bits of here behind me. I have a display over here, a huge display directly across from me, multi-layered. I have never counted my action figures, but it's quite a collection. And action figure collecting actually caused me one day to stumble into a comic book store by accident, thinking it was a toy store. And I really discovered, and I developed a passion for collecting comic books, not just collecting, but reading and getting to know these stories. And it gave me something I could do no matter what. You know, there are days when I wake up and I cannot stand up out of bed, much less plan what or how I'm going to do what I do that day. But no matter what condition I'm in, I can pull out a comic book. I can go on the internet and check out the newest action figures. I can bargain hunt. I can connect up with the collecting community. And it gives me a place, like I said, that even when I'm not mobile, I can still get outside of my own head. And really, it's not even financially constrictive either, because for me, especially when it comes to action figures, the purchase is not the best part. It's the hunt, trying to find what you want and trying to find it at the best price. And seeing, when it's going to go down to where I want to pay for it, can I get a good deal? And so that's where I got a lot of respite from the unending pain. And I think that's important, for me, after I became disabled, two things happened. I lost all sense of self-worth because I unhealthily put my self-worth into what I could do physically and work. And then I became extremely sedentary. When the doctors told me I'd be permanently injured, and they took me off of physical therapy, I went to a dark place, and I'm going to be careful with how I say this, but let's just say I almost gave up completely. But even after that passed, um, I chose not to live. When I say I chose not to live, I don't mean that in the way that I almost gave up. But what I mean is I decided, okay, if I can't work, then I'm just going to sit around and wait to die. And that's what I did. I didn't exercise because I could never, I figured if I couldn't look good and get all, shredded, then why work? And I didn't eat healthy because what was the point? I didn't want to live if I couldn't work. So what was the point of extending my life? I chain smoked and dipped, and yeah, I, I was very self-destructive, and through years of therapy, I broke a lot of those habits, and I quit smoking back in 2019, I believe. Quit nicotine, then nicotine free, and at my most depressed, believe it or not, you think I'm big now? At my most depressed, I got up to 400 pounds. I technically was only measured at 399, but I'm gonna be honest with you. The way I was living, I'm sure I bounced up over 400 once or twice. But yeah, now I'm about, as of today, I don't scale watch typically. I've just changed my workout routine to the point to where I am now tracking my weight loss, but I am down probably 84 pounds from my peak. So I'm heading in the right direction. But that's what this channel is about, is sharing that, because these hobbies, they led to not only um, getting my mind right and distracting me, but also, what initially attracted me to that first action figure was my love of professional wrestling. And so I would watch all of these professional wrestling channels on YouTube, trying to see what's what with the action figure world. And I started following different wrestlers on YouTube and Instagram. And as part of their jobs, they work out a lot. So I'd watch all of this workout content, and my mind shifted from like, well, maybe I'll never be able to squat because I can't stand up half the time. But I could buy some dumbbells and I could do some curls. I can get my arms right. I can get my shoulders right. Something is better than nothing. So I bought some dumbbells. And then I bought more dumbbells. And I would do a little bit every few days, which turned into a little bit every day, which turned into developing a workout routine that I could do even if I can only crawl from my room to my workout bench. I can do my workout routine. I have a routine that goes 3 days. I repeat twice a week, and started off with dumbbells, just doing upper body. And as I got my upper body stronger, my core developed, and I was able to do more core work. And as that developed, I was starting to get some strength in the surrounding parts of my leg that were not injured. So I was able to add bike pedaling into my daily routine. And what started off with a couple of dumbbells, a few minutes a day, now I have a set of dumbbells going from 10 pounds to 60, and a workout bench, a bike pedaler, and my routine. Like I said, it's a 3-day split. That's pretty advanced. That I am more physically active now that I'm disabled and 47 than I was before I got injured. And that all came from my love of nerd stuff, of following professional wrestling, and deciding, okay, I can do that a little bit. And when I got sick off of COVID, I got sick off of that before folks even knew what it was. Um, just to give you a little background history and how I got sick. I remember I had a couple of gigs the week of February. I remember it was February 14th because I had two gigs coming up. One was a Valentine's gig. I'm a musician, by the way, a local musician. And I was excited because I was going to earn close to $300 that week. And then my band leader called and was like, yo, we had to cancel the gigs and I don't know when we're going to work again, maybe a few weeks. And just a little sidebar, the guy was very cool. He's still a good friend of mine. He actually paid me for the gigs just because he knew I was, depending on it. And what I thought was going to be a couple of week layoff turned into the pandemic. And I got sick literally a couple of days after that with COVID. And that really messed with my mind and my cognition. And I had trouble retaining and learning information after I recovered. And what really got my head right was being able to sit down with the comic book every day. And at first it was a struggle for me to get through a comic book a day. But then one thing I noticed is that by exercising my mind daily through comic books, that mental fog dissipated. And I was able to rehabilitate my mind through reading comic books. And I went from not being able to focus on a comic book a day to reading 10 to 12 comic books a day. And now it's like, it's a big part of my life. I even incorporate it in my workouts. When I do my cardio, I'm a bike pedaler. I read comic books. And nerd culture has given me so much. And I want to give back. And I want to show that if you're disabled, if you're depressed, if you're sick, if you're just having a bad day and you need a way to get your mind off of it, I want to be here to show you that you can find some peace and joy and a little frivolity. And even if you're not a collector, hopefully my optimism and the joy that I get from these things radiates through you, the viewer. Because that's what life is about. I went from thinking that life was about just earning money and working hard to now it's my philosophy is if you can make somebody smile, then you're doing your part. But if you're not making somebody's life better, then you're on the wrong track. And what really got me thinking on about putting this video out today was with the new year coming up. For a while, for about 10 years after I got injured, like I said, I gave up. I didn't have a resolution for the next day. I played music occasionally, and I was sedentary. But last year, for the first time, I made a resolution of sorts, and that resolution was not a new resolution. My resolution was to be the same dude I've been being for the last few years. That guy who read consistently, who recorded videos on YouTube 6 days a week, who worked out 6 days a week, who tried to be a light to other people, and I have been successfully doing that. I think when people think New Year's resolutions, they want to have some big grand plan. And then they get bummed out when it doesn't happen. But over the last year, I've done at least 5 workouts a week. A few weeks I've had to miss one because there were days I couldn't stand and couldn't get to my bench. A few weeks. But I've been doing at least 5 workouts a week for the last year. And I've been on that rotation for about 4 years. And like I said, it went from simple movements to now I've gained the ability to bike. And even though weight loss wasn't even part of my plan and still isn't, I lost a crap load of weight. I lost around 25 pounds since this time last year. And, I'm healthier. Like I said, I'm getting healthier than I was when I was able-bodied. And And it's just small steps of just trying to be that same cat. And if there's a lesson to take away from this, don't feel like you have to measure up a certain way or you have to become this person or set this grand plan or goal. Just take a positive step every day because the math is always the same. 1 plus 1 will equal 2 every time. So if you're trying to lose weight, don't get fancy. Don't get stressed out. Maybe eat a little bit less junk. Maybe go for a walk a little bit. And maybe you won't see movement on the scale for quite a while. You may not see movement on the scale for months, but if you eat a little bit healthier and you walk just a little bit more, you're going to be able to walk a little bit further each time. You're going to enjoy eating a little bit healthier. And you're going to lose a little bit of weight because you're doing a little bit of work. And if you want to go to read more, don't feel like you have to pick up a novel. Pick up a comic book. Set a goal to read one every few days, and that'll lead to more and more. If you want to try a hobby, get into collecting like I am, or any other hobby, music. Music is, people think that it's some kind of magical thing you're born with. It's not. It's you pick up an instrument, any instrument, and you play a note. And then you try to get that note sounding as good as you can. And then you try to put that note in time. And then once you get a little bit of time and a little bit of tone, you can on scales, on techniques, but it doesn't matter what you do. It all starts with one note. So this year, if there's something you want to try, just put a foot forward, take one step toward it, and you keep doing that all year. And by this time next year, you're going to be a little bit further down the road than you expected. And also, most importantly, if you're going through mental health struggles like I've been through, you're not alone. You're not crazy. And if I can do it, because I'm far from impressive, you can do it. That's why, a lot of YouTube channels, as they grow, they try to look a little bit better on screen. They might hide whatever is going on in the background. They might hide their pill bottles. But I show all the stuff. I show my missing teeth from all the medications I need from depression and other health issues I developed, because that's real. That's who I am. I show my not fancy house and my secondhand recliner that I love, and my glasses that are held together by tape, not because I can't afford them, but because I really like these glasses. I don't want to change, to show that if I can find a way to be happy in life and move forward as a 47-year-old fat nerd, you can crush life. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time tomorrow. Be on the lookout for the upcoming comic book releases for this new comic book day. We're going to be doing a comic book unboxing Wednesday, another G.I. Joe unboxing Thursday, and we got a lot of great comic book reviews coming up, especially a review of I finally finished The War from Boom Studios, and I want to review it. It is a very heavy book. If you've not read The War, it is the most creative and original horror comic I've ever read. So check that out. It should be out in trade paperback. If it's not out now, it should be out soon. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care of yourself. Stay tuned. I'm out.